Hey, it's Jeremy from jeremy.net. I am a comic book artist, writer, creator, self publisher, and I share my creative process here with you online. If you enjoy these live streams, like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month, you can become a Patreon subscriber for as little as $2 a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free monthly newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you would like to purchase physical copies of my comic books or free digitally on Kindle, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. Okay. And at the start of the show, I would like to give a shout out to the Morro Bay Art Center. I gave my first live demo teaching figure drawing fundamentals and figure construction. And it went very, very well. It was very well attended. The organization's a great organization. The people that run it did a great job. Thank you to Anita and Kathleen and Sarah for making me feel very welcome. Thanks to all of the people from my weekly figure drawing session that showed up to support. It was really fun. I look forward to doing more teaching there in the future. So on that note, I see folks are rolling into the chat. I already see Dylan's in the chat, and I see Herman in there. I see Band. How you doing? Okay. Dylan, since you're here, let me pull up on Discord the pages that you shared, or the images that you shared. So let's see here. Screen. Discord. All right, here we go. So we were talking, for those who are not in the know, a couple of weeks ago, Amar in the chat had thrown out the idea of some homework for everyone in the group to basically just share work in progress, whatever they were working on, a story that they either were currently working on or something that they wanted to do, and just share like maybe 3 panels. Just where are you at right now? Where do you want to go with it? And I see Gary's in the chat. Gary Hodges of Dinosaurs versus Mars Bots. Good to see you, Gary. Happy Sunday. And last week we talked about some of the projects that Herman was working on, projects that Amar was working on, my Pandora's Box story. But what we've got here are some images from, let's see, Dylan, you said, I thought of this story a couple of hours before last week's stream. I don't have a story yet. I'm fine if we have to wait till next week's stream. Each panel is numbered. It's in reverse, and the title is Colossus from the Sun. So it's in reverse. I will start with the last one here. So it's sort of a kaijus versus robots concept from what I see here. So we've got this giant robot socking this dude in the face. And you know what? What's interesting is that you've used very simple tools to communicate the scale. You've got these 2 robots, but then you've got a building down here with a car. You know, that's all you need in order to communicate, you know, robots versus kaijus. You get that sense of scale. And then you have him, you know, and it's interesting with the coloring. It kind of reminds me of, is it Kamen Rider? Is that the name of the Ultraman style TV show and character? I never watched it, but the coloring kind of reminds me of that. But he's knocking this giant orange creature, well, literally like socking him hard, flying into the sky. Then you've got him flying right into the sun. So, I mean, you know, what's interesting is you just got a very simple beginning, middle, and end just with communicating those 3 images. And I feel like that's, you know, when it comes to storytelling, it's kind of all you need to get started. Once you've got a beginning, middle, and end, then you ask yourself, are there things that need to be filled in between that beginning, middle, and end? Is this the climax of a huge battle and there's all sorts of backstory that comes before leading up to this? is this the beginning of the battle? And then the story is what happens when this guy lands on the sun. There's lots of places you can go to explore with it. So let's see, even right there. Dylan said, I was about to finish, but then I realized I needed to add something to show scale, so I added the house and the car. Yeah, see, that's you've got good storytelling instincts there. Just realizing that you needed something like that to add to it. And by the way, thanks for the kind words about the demo that I taught. He said, I'm glad to hear it went well. Well, Dylan, I mean, it looks like you're off to a good start. I am curious to find out where, like you said, this is still an idea you're forming. Do you see this as a middle of a larger story, the beginning of a larger story, or the end of a larger story? And when I say larger story, it may be, it's not, I don't want to make you feel any pressure to do an epic, because the whole thing I keep telling people is I need to do shorter stories. So if your whole idea for something is that you want to have a 4-page comic that you can just make as like a mini comic to sell at shows, or just make a mini zine that you can just print and fold and put out online or give out to people, then maybe honestly, that might actually not be a bad idea. Is literally to say, I'm going to just come up with one more image that either comes before this or after this or fits in the middle. And then all you make is a zine, a single sheet of paper divided into 4s that you can fold up and give out as a comic, or even take it and make it like something that's accordion folded. However you want to put it together. Now, see, I've never made zines. I've hand stapled book comics, but I haven't really done the zine thing before. I see Amar has arrived. Let me add Amar to the mix. Hey, how you doing, man?
Hey, Jeremy, and hello to everybody else.
Hey, how's it going? You having a good Sunday?
Oh yeah, I just made it back in. That's why I was late.
Well, it's not like English class. Nobody's taking attendance. But we were just looking at the images that Dylan had dropped in the Discord last week. So I pulled those up now, and I was asking him, because it's a 3-image sequence, and let's see here. He said, I was originally going to make it more complicated, but I decided to make it simpler, and it's probably around the end. And I was saying, because it's just a 3-image sequence of this giant creature getting knocked into the sun by a giant robot. Maybe it's, I don't know, Amar, if you've ever seen a lot of like the fanzines, the little folded photocopied comics people would make and give out at like zine shows or small press shows. But I was saying he could just make like a simple mini comic. In fact, you may not know this, but some of the people in the chat that know Jersey Droz, back when he used to do the Art and Story podcast, they had a thing called, I think it was the Mini Comics Dump Truck. If I don't know, Gary, if you remember what it was called, but that challenge where everyone was making their own mini comics and submitting them as a group, kind of like so that everyone could enjoy everyone else's work, or I can't remember if it was something where it was sort of like a mini comics exchange where you'd make it and send your mini comic to someone else. They'd make it and send it to someone else. But I think just doing a simple mini comic for Dylan, it might be easier in terms of like, it's not a big ambitious project. My whole thing, and I think that you as well, Amar, we have the same thing where we're coming up with these big ambitious projects, and it can be challenging because it takes so many steps to get them done. So
yeah, I remember because I used to work, like I said, I think I told you before, I used to work at Kinko, so they called them something different back then, but they used to make those a lot at Kinko's and take them to like the Comic Cons. So I remember people used to do that. People that was making comics, they would do like those little photo printed comics and then try to sell them at the Comic Con or whatever, or give them away.
Oh yeah. They would call them mini comics. They'd call them zines. Let's see here. Gary says, "You mean the 100 Days thing?" So I'm trying to remember the name, Well, I know that the 100 Days of Making Comics, that was Kevin Cross starting that, and that was more about just working on your comic and showing up every day to just talk about what you got done. But there was specifically something that I want to say Jersey was doing that was around making and sharing mini comics and
Uh,
zines. And I
I don't
want
know.
to say that it was, huh?
I don't know if this was it. Sorry for cutting you off, but I know they had one thing that happened every year.
Mm-hmm.
They take like a week and everybody meet together and they take like a week and make a comic.
Mm-hmm.
And then they got another thing that's called a 24-hour comic too.
Yeah, I know the 24 hour comic book day. That was something where, and that's another challenge that I have hung out with other artists doing it, but I've never stayed up and done one. But the idea was simply you you draw one comic book page per hour. So a whole page, not even a panel, a whole page every hour for 24 hours. And when you're done, you've got a 24-page comic. So that's working on some speed right there. My buddy Carl Altstetter, he did that 1 year, and that first issue that he drew became a series he did called Emerald City Blues, which was kind of like a neo-noir sci-fi version of Wizard of Oz. It was like Wizard of Oz meets Blade Runner. Very, very cool comic. And I'm still waiting on his last issue of it, which I think he has mostly penciled and even inked a lot. I just think he hasn't had a chance to put it to print because he's busy with like paying work. But that's something I'm still looking forward to seeing the end of his story there. Let's see here. Dylan mentioned on this page that we're looking at, and he said, by complicated, I mean like a Sergio Topi type composition. Yeah, that would be a very interesting thing because Topi, I think of his compositions as being complicated, almost like Bill Sienkiewicz, like the type of work where it's elaborate, intertwined forms. And, his compositions to me seem like the compositions aren't complicated. It's the level of textures and details he has in the compositions. But, he says the start was going to be the Colossal. So I assume that the Colossal is the big orange creature that is fighting the robot. He says there's going to be the Colossal arriving on Earth, then cut to a man at his grill at his party, and again, then gets a call about the monster, then goes to work to get the mech and fight him. Let's see here. Gary says, if I did a page an hour, it'd look like Ziggy. Mine would look like wow, the problem is I don't want to slander any comic strip artists by saying that their work is in any way inferior. All I can say is that if I did a 24-hour comic, I've thought about the fact that I'm not so concerned about drawing something that looks bad because I know that I can just go back to the parts I really don't like and I can fix them. The parts that I think that I'd probably learn a lot by doing something really fast. For me, it's the writing that takes that I'm spending a lot more time obsessing over lately. So let's see here. Dylan says that the yellow thing is the Colossal. So yes. Let me see. There was a bunch of other stuff in the Discord that we just sort of people in the community posted over the course of the week. But I think I saw there was another thing that Dylan had posted in there with a penguin. Is that what this is? A boxing penguin or a kung fu penguin? So who knows? That could be something where that's a character that I'm not sure if the idea is it's another character, a separate story, or it could be somebody else who ends up fighting the Colossus after this guy. It could be something where you do sort of a Dragon Ball Z / Scott Pilgrim thing where the Colossus has to get his ass whooped by a bunch of increasingly absurd characters. That might be interesting. But I think either way, you've got an interesting start for ideas, and it's a matter of just figuring out what form you want it to take next. Because maybe what you can do is, maybe you do a 4-page mini comic about him fighting that mech. Then maybe do a 4-page mini comic about this penguin either fighting the mech or fighting the Colossus, and you can just sort of build on that. And who knows? if you do like 6 of these mini comics, then you've got like a 24-page comic. So, or if you do 4 pages, you can make like a 20-page comic with 5 of them. So I think you've got a good start here, and keeping it to something that's really simple. I think that gives you a lot of leeway in terms of like just not putting a lot of pressure on yourself in the project. Like I myself have thought of doing comics where each page was a splash page. Like I know Walt Simonson did that with an issue of Thor. In fact, it wasn't even splash pages; it was double page spreads. He did an issue where Thor was fighting this creature called the Midgard Serpent, and so every single page of the issue was a double page spread. And but I've thought of just simply telling a whole story in just 1-page images, and maybe doing something that would be the length of a single comic. But if that whole comic has altogether like 200 panels, then you have something that has the size of a graphic novel, but it has the story of a single issue. So it's almost like doing like comics in, I guess, would be the print version of high def, which is like big images. I don't know. I think of these format experiments that I'd like to try, but those were probably better suited to one-off stories. And, as I've mentioned, I keep writing these multi-issue epic things, and I really need to hone in on doing more short story stuff. Dylan says his character is called a penguin, which clever. I didn't pick that. I see that you wrote it there, but I didn't pick that up originally. So I like me some good puns. So definitely run with that. Let's see. Herman says, I posted some stuff. I'll jump on as soon as I get my mic and my headset. Let's see here. What else is in there in the Discord? So for those who don't know, we have a public Discord. The Discord I have one that's set up for patrons, but then I created a public section for everyone to kind of like share and talk about stuff, work as we go. Because people have been asking, where can I share work for the live stream? Let's see here. Oh, wow. See here. Oh yeah, no. So I saw this one part that Herman had posted where he's got I had challenged him to just describe, because he had a sheet. For those who haven't seen last week's, it was a few different sheets of just sketches. Some were fan art, some were some idea character design, some were just rough sketches of just images. And I said, if story is the place where you're challenged or are having difficulty building out what you want to do with a comic, I said just start with just writing descriptions for the sketches. And so we've got some pretty simple, just straightforward sketches, descriptions in here. Young warrior training extremely hard before doing his chores. He worked on everything his Sifu taught him: balance, form, swordsmanship. The Sifu watched from afar, watching his techniques proudly with a smirk. And then I remember you had the He-Man fan art page. It says the forest was blowing hard the minute when Adam unsheathed his sword. The power of the sword engulfed the forest when Adam called upon it. Okay, it says 2 henchmen were added. The 2 henchmen were not added. 2 henchmen were shocked at the power of the sword Adam covered. In a flash, He-Man, the most powerful man in the universe, appeared. And he's got the eye of the power. And then jumping back to the martial arts one, it says a new warrior watches from the shrubbery, vowing to one day relieve Adam of his sword. So it's interesting there. There's a little mashup of like kung fu with He-Man, which I think is interesting. Here's the thing. Whenever I see stuff with fan art, I personally think that fan art is it can come out like I'm anti-fan art. I'm not anti-fan art. I think that people should do fan art. And in fact, I remember seeing an interesting I haven't had a chance to watch it, but I think Christian Nee did an interview somewhere. He said that fan art got him his concept art career. So it's possible to do fan art and have people who make either that thing or people that do stuff in a similar genre may see your fan art and say, hey, I would like to hire you to work on this based on your fan art. So I say, if you're a fan of things, go and do fan art. But I'm looking at the story, and I'm thinking, the idea simply of a man who can transform from like a normal human to a superhuman warrior. Yes, He-Man has done it, but also you look at Captain Marvel as well, and I'm sure that there's multiple other iterations. So just the idea of having a character and they transform into a powerful warrior, you could take the idea of He-Man and make your own version. A character who has a weapon that transforms him into from a normal person or from a child into someone who is like a more powerful version. You could full on, you could do it as He-Man, or let's see here. Herman asks, yeah, Herman, there should be a link in the link to the live stream is in the general part of the Discord, not on the public part. So if you just hop over to the general thread, you can jump in over there. And I also posted it on Patreon this morning.
Yeah, that video you was talking about, I shared it in a public live stream area about the lady that got the actual career from doing fan art.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. See, that's where I remember seeing.
Yeah,
it.
I shared it last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I haven't had a chance to watch it yet, but was there any takeaways from that you thought were interesting that's worth sharing?
Well, I don't know if I remember watching the whole thing. I think I watched most of it, but she was basically encouraging people to do fan art, and you know, it was something she kind of just like put out there. She was saying like, you know, I think her and then this other guy shared I think the African guy that makes like $1 million a day. That's not really he don't really call himself an artist. I think from both of them, it's like kind of just put yourself out there and and do it, because you don't know, because like with him, he kind of like, I think he say he mimics other people, and he with his stuff, he really don't have a style. He just does stuff, but it happens, it sells for a lot of money. Kind of remind me of uh, uh, a Basquiat type character, but not so much a Basquiat type character, because it's social media. He doesn't have like another artist pushing him, but he seems to be able to get a lot of money for this sort of like, I'll call it sort of like stuff that you used to see people tagging on trains. He kind of does spray can art. I forgot, graffiti. It was not really, I wouldn't call it graffiti, but it's more spray can art. It's not really graffiti. And he does a lot of stuff that kind of, to me, it's not really my style, because it reminds me of a pickaninny. And I don't like seeing that. He kind of, that's that style. He like drawing stuff with big eyes and big lips, and it looks, to me, it looks a little. Some of his characters kind of they black, and it's so like he's playing on that. I don't know why he chose that particular style, but that seems to be something easy for him to, I guess, draw.
Well, I mean, I've seen people do that more as not trying to perpetrate negative stereotypes, but I've seen people, and I think it's valid that it's a social commentary on some of those archetypes of how Black people have been represented in art and media in like the early parts of American history in the in the 1800s and 1900s and early 20th century illustration. And they're trying to, like, remember this way, I haven't looked at that guy's work either, but I think there are valid versions of people doing that and trying to turn those tropes on their head. That said, it's not necessarily a style of art that I personally am that interested in either. So I get you there, but I hesitate to judge it without actually having seen the video itself and looked. I saw that you posted it, but without having watching it and hearing what his context is for doing it in the style he does, I would be hesitant to just say, oh, he shouldn't be doing that. But
yeah, the one thing I did get out of it, I kind of like that he did, is he has other, he call them real artists around him. I don't know if their art sells for the same what is, but he sort of like created his little niche, and he sort of like said, you know, everybody got like a little 10-year window. He's just trying to use his 10-year window, and then he's also using it to help push some of the other artists around him that
Mhm.
he called real artists, because he was showing like some of that work in the video. So I find that as a good thing, because I think, especially with the social media age, if I don't want to say, I don't want to use my age always, but if I was younger and I sort of like did a lot of things, I see some people that are really good at this. They do a lot of collaboration, and a lot of the young people that do a lot of collaboration that work together, they seem to like blow up together.
Mhm.
So that's kind of a good thing, because I've seen a couple other artists that I used to watch on YouTube
Mhm.
uh, kind of do something similar. I just can't remember the name of one of them now. He's an Asian guy, but he sort of went the Mr. B sort of route, because he used to do more comics, and he kind of reminded me of this other artist that I follow that did comic art, but he went a whole different route. And if I find his name, I'll post it in Discord. But I'm pretty sure I shared him before. He's on the same
Yeah, Sam
level.
does arts.
Sam does arts.
Yeah. By the way, I see Herman's in the chat. Hey, how you doing, man?
You good? What's going on,
It's
y'all?
like I could tell we were getting on a tear there, and I was like, it was
No,
like,
no, you good. You good. I was just trying to I'm still trying to like, clear up my desktop. It just looks terrible. I got so
mm.
much junk on my computer. Like it just look bad. But yeah, I'm here. So I guess we can get back to what y'all was talking about.
um, well, I don't know. I mean, Amar, you were saying that just the idea of what was it that you were saying that Sam does arts was doing like art
Well,
wise?
it wasn't him; it was another guy. But
Mhm.
if I find him, I do it, because San does ours. He does something different than the guy
Mhm.
I was talking about. But if I find him, I share him. Um, Even during the stream, if I find him, I share it. But only thing I added this week was I added an update to the character. I had drawn out the character, and I just did like a little turnaround. She's
Mhm.
still in a rough stage, and what I started doing was something I shared on your Discord before, whereas I'm trying to add in like different shots of her at different angles. So I started on that. I only got one shot. I started on the second shot, so I want to fill the page up with different shots. So like how I did with my two of my other characters I shared on your Discord before, my Lither character and my Snow character.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
once I get a page full of her outside of the turnarounds, then I'm gonna probably clean them up and move on from there.
Yeah.
Cool, cool.
Well,
So I see Herman, the images that you posted in the Discord.
right.
Let me flip back over to that.
Okay.
So we've got this Wolverine-esque.
Yeah, that's me just like again, like I told you, because I don't really have anything kind of like finished.
Mhm.
But when I'm like I said, when I'm at work, I just try to like just keep like my hand moving and sketching. I'm like it's just thumbnails, like just show you that I'm sketching. But I do have like I did add the part that you mentioned about doing the one sentence thing, and then
Mhm.
you had when I had finished the one with the He-Man one, you threw something else in there. It was like, yeah, dude. I was like, here you go with this. It's crazy, but it's all good. But I did a sheet in there that has like me doing like one sentence to like a series of like thumbnails or something like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I'm talking about if you it's
Oh,
I
keep
had
going.
just
There's
posted.
another one.
Yeah, I just posted some other stuff at the bottom, like some new. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
here we go.
right,
Oh yeah, because so for context, so Herman had submitted the posted the first one where it had
right,
the dialogue going along narrating the sketches, and then I said now take something that you haven't drawn yet
right.
and write a sentence for it. Now
I'm like,
when I said that, did that what did your brain what happened in your brain when I threw that at you?
that was like some last minute like I was actually like on a team or something like that. And you just like look like it's kind of like okay, yeah, I like that, but like could you do something else? Like that's kind of felt like I was working for like a company or something like that. And I mean, and I don't know if I don't know if I felt some kind of way about that because I was like, man, I was like in my head, I was like, I could just work for myself. You know what I'm saying? Like But when you working for people and working for a group of people, like you have to like sometimes things like that happen, and you have and things people uh, throw something at you like that, and then sometimes you kind of got to be ready for it. So I just kind of took it as that, you know what I'm saying?
Well, I I
Huh.
didn't I didn't mean for it to feel,
I know
because
it's
here's the
all
thing.
good,
All of us is doing this. Like, I
right?
mean, hell, I've hardly had any time to work on my stuff this past week. So I did have a little bit of work, and I'll share it with you guys a little bit later. But
Right,
for me, the whole idea of getting you to take your existing images and just describe what's in the image,
right.
all of that was to try and free you up to
I got
then
you.
flip the switch. So really the real, that was all just to prime the pump, because the real thing is just write a sentence for a picture you haven't drawn yet. Like the fact that you went in and actually illustrated all these, I'm like, damn. But for me, I just want you to go the other way, because that to me is what, when it comes to writing visually and
Right.
writing for comics, the idea of taking a picture that doesn't exist and describing it, that's the thing that's the challenge.
Hmm.
And I thought maybe by going from describing the existing to describing something that you haven't drawn yet, like
Right.
it might be a good exercise to help you just make the jump. But really, just writing the one sentence was the only thing. But now you've got like a full story here.
I mean, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think uh, it sparked me to like think more about the story that I want to do. Like when I was telling you, I want to do like the hard detective horror story. Like, and I know
Mm-hmm.
everyone asks about that. So basically, I still haven't started the writing process just because I was just trying to like look at some of the videos that I have found a video based on writing about talking about beats and stuff like that. So the goal was, I mean, because my week got jammed up, I was going to watch that. I was going to watch your video again, your writing video again.
Mm-hmm.
I was gonna like just cram that knowledge of that one video I found, and then your video, and then try to start working on writing the story. But I came to the conclusion that I kind of like came up with the second story. So it's like the part two to the first one. So it's like it was the concept of that, I think, is a lot more. It's the same story, but it's just like I think this probably going to be will probably be like a shorter book, but
Mm-hmm.
but it helped. That way of thinking kind of, I think it helped a lot because I think I completed the second story too, like in my head, how I want it to be. So I just got to go back and start writing the first one and get the dialogue and all that stuff together. Because like, yeah, I'm like, it helped. It helped. I think it helped a lot. Like as far as like trying to get the thinking of the image and like, well, writing the one sentence to the image, I was just like, I just like, yo, I could, I just started thinking of the other story, just like, and I just had
Mm-hmm.
in my head, I just completed the other one in my head. I think that one like is done. And so, well, that was
Mm-hmm.
done, and then I just need to work on this first one because I was like, I was going to watch your video, watch the other videos, and I was going to try to start writing. You know what I'm saying? So because I,
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to get like somebody talking to me about writing. I found another video with girls talking about writing scripts and stuff. So I'm like, that was my thing. I was going to do that. I did my research. I was going to use you as research and use and then that's what I was looking at the videos that you popped in there about the with the artists where they were talking about BG backgrounds and stuff like that. I looked at that too.
Mm-hmm.
Some of that also. So I'm like, I'm gonna just go back like maybe tonight, and I'm gonna just when I'm at work, I'm gonna just go through all those videos and then try to get started like on something. I mean, because I want to be able to I don't know if like, I mean, I don't want to like write the story to the point where I'm giving away things, but I'm like, I want to be able to write a little bit of stuff that I could come back and present to y'all, like, and then have like kind of leave it vague, whatever, in some kind of sense. Like, maybe, I mean, I guess it will be vague because it won't be the whole story. Maybe I could just write something that that we could probably rap about or something. Like, I mean, I could try. I could try. I'm like, again, not the great, but but
Well, I mean, that's the important thing, is just getting the ball rolling, and
mhm.
that's all I was hoping would happen. Is just because I know, like, you don't think of yourself as a writer,
No, I
but
don't.
but all of us tell stories in our
Right.
lives. It's part of human communication, and I think that it's simply a matter of finding ways to tap into that natural, like just the whole, when someone says what's up and you're like, how, they're like, how's your day, and you just start narrating the things that happen, and you leave out
What you
all the
mean?
more
What's
you get.
up? Yeah,
Yeah. But just that nature of explaining, like, just
right,
the narrative of
right.
how
I
did we
got
get
you.
from here to there,
No, it's
like,
helping.
yeah.
It's helping a lot. I believe like that because that for me, like I was just like, yo, I just came up with the other story just like that. It was like this. It's continuation of the first story. I just think it's just like a wrap up story. Like so, maybe like 2 books or something like that. But
Mhm.
I just think the other one might be like shorter because of the situation. But um,
Well,
yeah.
I think you also discovered something that I was gonna mention, like, you discovered on your own,
Mhm.
which is it's actually useful to have 2 different projects going at once,
Okay.
because the human brain loves to procrastinate.
Yep.
When we start doing something like you said, you have a detective story, and all of a sudden your brain started working on this sci-fi, this astronaut at landing on this planet,
Right.
or just kind of working their way through whatever the challenge that they're facing,
Right.
and you're like, well, why is the sci-fi story coming out? But like, it gave you like a pretty strong starting point for that.
Hmm.
And what I think you'll find is you may come back to this story and try to flesh it out and bring it into completion. And as you're doing it, your brain will want
Start
to
working on the other one.
resist.
Hmm.
And when it starts to resist, you can just let it think about what'll happen is your brain will create the answers for the detective story
Right.
while you're working on this. And then when
Right.
you go and you work on the detective story, your brain will work on the other one. So it's like you can take procrastination and do a jujitsu, flip it on
Right.
its ear and make it serve you
Right.
by giving it something else for your brain to work on.
So I appreciate that. I'm like, so did I do the right thing as far as like these sketches that you like did help? Like,
Oh, you did more than the right thing. I mean,
okay,
this is exactly like literally this right here. It's a whole comic page.
right.
You've got all the got this guy. Now, is that first panel like an explosion in space?
Yeah, it was just me just coming up with just random ideas and coming up with
Hmm.
stuff. So I'm like, yeah, I don't know.
But no, I mean, you've got like the angry character trying to snare, a tether, the astronaut drifting in space,
Right,
um, a person showing no emotion, but then a tear running down, and the sun moving closer to the earth, and the days go
right.
by, slowly disrupting the atmosphere. It's like they're disconnected, but they are you describing narrative moments.
Okay.
And the idea is simply that at a certain point, you'll say, all right, as opposed to just describing images, you're going to want to describe specific sequential beats.
Right.
And that's all it is just then deciding that, what is the story you want to tell? You're using the words to do thumbnails. And then it becomes whatever the moment is, it's the idea of saying, all right, what do I want to show before this? And what do I want to show after this? And then you describe what you want to show after it. And then you're like, well, what do I want to show after that? And that's literally all it is. It's just general sentences to string together a very simple story. And then once you have got the simple story in words, you can go through and say, well, what do I need more detail for here? Where do I actually need dialogue?
Right.
Where do I need to describe things? Where does this not make sense? And I need to change this sentence to something else, or I need to move this scene earlier or later. The words themselves become like clay for you to move around and shape and sculpt until you have a narrative with a capital N, like story narrative. So
Mhm.
you're moving in the perfect direction. And I really like these other sketches you've got here, like this close up, this
Right.
person's mouth. It's got like a very, very cool, like Wildstorm comics feel to it. Like it kind of like reminds
Right.
me of Mark Silvestri.
Okay.
No, which is not Wildstorm, but Top Cow.
Oh,
But
okay. Yeah, I was just getting real nasty, trying to get real loose, whatever, just coming up with like because I was like when it comes to the actual story, uh the book that I want to do, like a
mhm,
lot of that stuff that and it's weird I chose that for a reason because
mhm,
I don't know how to draw. I don't know how to draw like a lot of buildings. I don't know how to draw cars. I don't know so it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be a
mhm,
rough situation. But I'm like, as far as I get the story done, yeah. So I'm just trying to figure out artistically how I'm gonna be like, because I mean it's kind of gonna be based in real world, but so
mhm.
I'm like I chose this because I never drew a lot of stuff like that before, so it's gonna be complicated and difficult. I'm gonna have to come up with like ideas of you know, should I draw a background? Should it just be a character with a panel? Like, I
Mhm.
kind of like I was like just messing around with stuff like this, like trying to figure out, but sometimes you're gonna need. I feel like you need those establishing shots and stuff like that to help draw people in or people so people can identify. Um, like I said, like I said, mine's is gonna be based like in Baltimore, like so, and like
Mhm.
so I want like, key areas that people probably would go to. Like I probably indicate like maybe I have like a lot of stuff jumping off in those areas, whatever like that, or maybe pop up on the news or something like that. People be like, oh my God, like I know exactly, if they read the book, I know exactly where that's at in Baltimore. Like goodness, like that would be a rough situation,
Mhm.
So just kind of like thinking like that, just thinking about what people would, how people would feel and like I said, just trying to again try to use places where people are can identify things like that. So it make it more familiar, when they read and going through the what's the name, so they be like, oh my God, like I know, again, like I said, I know exactly where that's at, like or I've been down on that street, or something like that, and then somebody got
Got jacked.
jacked up, like right,
Yeah, the thing I would suggest is and I agree with Jeremy as far as the shots. They
mm,
look good. I was expecting to see like 3 panels, like even if it's something simple regarding like your story. And far as the actual location thing, I think with Google Earth and then a lot of
yeah,
the free
that's what I was doing.
a
I need
lot
to
of the
draw,
free tools they have out there.
right,
Plus, you got your cell phone. You can take pictures.
yep,
Uh, there's a lot of ways for you to get the background assets together, and then you can just put them in there as placeholders, and then figure out the shot that you need, depending on how you want it to look for the comic. And the backgrounds can take care of themselves. I think more so now is just figuring out the story you want to tell. And I would just like take one situation. It don't have to be a full minute of the situation. It could just be like a couple shots that you may even think that's cool, that's in your head, or
right,
make you think of this is the reason why I want to do that detective story, and then just do something on that. So like how you do these, because these ideas right here are based on things that you like and you feel comfortable with as far
right,
as drawing. So that's why it's so easy for you to do that. You have to
right,
have that same comfortability with, and I know it's not a word, but the same level of being comfortable with
right,
your own characters, so that way you can put them in this situation and be able to tell the story that you want. I mean,
right,
otherwise you do a lot of you keep doing a lot of these stories that's not just arbitrary,
right,
but they will be relative to what you want to do, because then it'll help you get to your end goal. Because otherwise, you have a lot of stories like this. I mean, it's nothing against these, because a lot of people, they can make careers out of doing this type of stuff. But if you want to tell your story, I would just do something, just a couple panels or something in regards to it, because then that'll get you the ball rolling in that direction. That's all.
right. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. I don't know. Like I don't know. Yeah, I don't know, but I hear you though. I hear that exactly what you're
Yeah,
saying.
you have you thought about the character, how the characters are gonna look?
No, I mean, yeah. I mean, too, and that's what I was again. That comes with the environments. Like I was thinking of all that stuff, but like I feel like the hard part is going to be environments. Like, and I was coming up with like I watched a video where this one guy was he was a manga artist, whatever, and they were hating on this guy because he took pictures from the area in where he lived at, whatever, and he because he put used those as background. But what he did, he took it in and put in a filter on it and changed brought the levels down and stuff like that. So it looked kind of like he used like the comic book
yeah, but
filter from Photoshop and stuff like that. So I was just like, I don't know. I
But
mean,
in reality, that doesn't matter. I mean, because
right,
if you seen, I seen some people, and I'm gonna tell you this, not to cut you off, but I seen some people use DAS for their comics, and they've been doing that for like decades, and that's all they make their comic books with DAS. So that's basically
what is
using a
that?
free three. It's a free 3D tool, so like Poser,
Okay,
where you put 3D models in there, and they use
hmm
the 3D models to pose out their scenes, and they put in like 3D
okay,
backgrounds, and that's how they did it. And they've been doing comics like that forever. That's how they do their comics, and some people do. That's how they do their graphic novels. But the
okay,
thing is what's the most important thing is not about what other people is gonna say. It's about you telling your story.
Right.
So the thing is you have to get that worked out far as your characters, how you want them to look, what their arc is going to be, and how you're going to work on delivering that, and then put them in the same situations like how you did these characters. Like you was able to, last week you did some, and then this week you did some. If you start putting your characters in that same scenario, then you can work a lot of this stuff out.
I guess. I mean, like just.
No,
I
I
mean,
ain't no guess. You
no,
you
I'm
can
just
you can do
saying.
it.
I'm like, no, at the moment, it's like I'm really focused. I mean, as far as like characters and stuff like that, I mean, because I feel like I can probably do like character designs. I think one of the issues, like I said, like things that because I don't know exactly if I want the stuff to look realistic. That's like realistic or whatever. Like that's the issue I'm having right now. Like I'm like so because I have other things that needs to be drawn for the percent. Because I mean, I sat there and I thought about this. I thought everything out already. Like as far as like what needs to be done, as far as like the story and all that. It's just the characters. Like I was trying to think like basically just trying to figure out a style that I can keep doing whatever and I won't ha- be worried about
Yeah, I think you're
the
overthinking it because
drawing aspect
you
of it.
already have a style that you're doing that you showed us last week and the week before. Why not just use that style?
And s- I don't know, maybe because it's overcomplicated. Maybe I don't know.
Well, here's
Well,
a question.
simplify then.
What do you how do you enjoy drawing when you're not worried about making a finished project and you're just
Right.
drawing what you enjoy? How do you draw?
Uh, kind of like very loose, like how like you see with them sketches like that. It's kind of like and they kind of remind. Who was the guy? His name was it Texeria?
Mark Texera?
Yeah,
Mark Texera?
yeah, I kind of like when I started thinking about my style, kind of looked like his stuff a little bit, a little, that type of like very rugged
Mhm.
and lines and stuff like that. So I'm like, I kind of like because it looked like it has like energy, whatever, but I don't know.
Have
Maybe.
you ever thought of doing like how people do? I don't know what they call these shots, but um, there's a name for it where people just do shots of their characters posing in certain positions.
Yeah,
Jeremy might know what I'm talking about. They just have them in like certain shots,
like
almost.
model sheets, it's kind of like a
Well,
model
well,
sheet.
not a model sheet. It's another one, sort of like how they
Well,
used to do
a
pinup.
model
Yeah,
sheet. It's a pose
yeah,
sheet.
I
Like
do see like the animation.
a model sheet is a turnaround of characters. An
Right,
expression sheet is a sheet of them
right.
making different faces and expressions, and a pose sheet is just them in different poses.
Yeah, I have all that. Like I done
Yeah,
stuff
well,
like that.
no, I'm also referring to like when you see people that post stuff online, they usually
Mhm.
always try and put them in a situation,
Right.
and so like I'll use this. What's this guy that always does? He's an art teacher. I think his name start with Mark or something. I don't know if you know what I'm
Mark
talking about.
Brunetti
Yeah, Mark
or
Brunetti.
Marco Bucci. There's Mark Brunetti and there's Marco
Rubber
Bucci, but
neutral. Right. I
Brunetti,
watch both
I
of
think,
those.
does more of the character poses stuff.
Yeah, he always every time he starts his video, he's always talking about his courses. But every time you see his video, he always has a character posing.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like a beauty. I don't know if it's a beauty pose or whatever they call it. They got a term for it. But you put your character in that kind of pose, and it's sort of like something to glamorize the character. It doesn't have to be, a story situation. Maybe if you do some of those in a scenario, and you can probably do a pose sheet or whatever, then they'll get you in the actual mode of, okay, I'm in this character skin now. Now I can start thinking out how the story will act out. Sometimes you have to get into the character skin. Maybe that will help you think about, okay, how I want this to this character to actually act out in this world. I don't know. I'm just
Yeah, I
just
got you.
spitballing.
Well,
Yeah,
my major point was that if you know, in terms of style, the Mark Texiera
yeah.
thing, if you know how you enjoy drawing when you're not trying, you don't want to make an extra level of difficulty to your project for no reason. Just use that as your style for one story. In fact, I mean, and here's the other thing. If you draw that story and you get through like one chapter or you get through a couple of pages and you're like, I don't like this style,
Remember
You
they
can change
switch up the
styles.
artwork so it started looking like another guest artist just jumped on the book. That because I thought people like consistency, like you know what I'm saying. I don't.
Well, that's why I'm saying start with the way you draw naturally.
Right.
Just start with how you draw naturally, because you can do that consistently. Start with that as your default.
Okay.
Because then it's more like if you do anything different than that, it's going to have to be a conscious choice.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to start with with just how you would normally go about doing it, and that way it'll give you a little bit of freedom to develop the story and to make conscious choices about style. Like you may, after drawing, because I will tell you, for every project I've done, if you compare the first page to the last page, my style changes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think worrying too much about that will stop you from ever drawing.
Mm-hmm.
Just whatever your the default normal, like the loose scratchy storytelling style, go with that. And here's another thing. You ever I think I mentioned this last week. You know how like in some manga they'll have like the first 4 pages will be in watercolor,
Mm-hmm.
and then the rest of it will all be black and white and pen and ink? You can do that. You can say, like, for you'll do a story, and if you decide that you want to try stuff out, you can say, like, the first, like, if you're doing 8-page stories, you can say, like, the first page of each story is going to be in a different style, because maybe it's a flashback or a flash forward or it's a dream, whatever it is. You can have a reason for just saying, I'm going to do this in experimental style, and then I'm going to go back to what's comfortable for me that I can do regularly.
Right.
And I'm trying to say this not to encourage you to try stuff just to try stuff, but I'm saying more of, you have freedom for your style to evolve. Making the work is the place where you figure out how you want your stuff to look and how you want it to change. So instead of feeling like you feel like you have to have all that worked out before you start. And what I'm
Right.
saying is the making of the comic is the place to work that out.
And I use a key scenario here. When you do animation, you don't draw the character the way they should look in every, starting from the default pose to the different poses, that the key poses that they're going to have, even in the in-betweens. You start out with rough drawings, and then even if you don't know the style, you're still drawing to actually get the acting out more so than to get the actual character to look the way you need to, because then you got to focus on keeping the character on model,
Right.
putting them in the environments they need to be in. Right now, like I said, you're overthinking it. Just do it like how you did, exactly like how you're doing these drawings here. You're drawing them, loose, and you're drawing them because it's something that comes to your head. Until you do that with your characters, because a lot of times, same thing with animation. You gotta draw them characters over and over until you get them stuck in your head. So the same thing with your characters. You gotta draw them over and over till you become really acquainted with them. Because even though you know the characters, you don't really know the characters until you've drawn a while. Just like, I'm sure Jeremy could say the same thing about his characters for his book. You have to draw them over and over again, and almost get into that character to know, like, okay, what would this character do in this situation? So same thing like what you're doing these drawings here. Put your characters in those situations. Switch out the character and say, okay, well, this is the character for the detective story. Then they may lead you into being able to tell your story for what you want to do, and then just do it in a few panels, and do the same thing you're doing with the adding the text, the captions in there, and that may help you go down the path that you want to go with your story.
Right. Right.
What we're trying to tell you is you already got this. You may
Right.
not feel like you got this, but you
Yeah.
got all the tools. It's just a matter of doing the baby steps. You know what it is? Is you got to bust up your knees. You know how a little kid be walking around and they be
Right.
bumping into furniture and shit?
Mm-hmm.
You gotta, that's part of this process. This is the process where you walk around and you bust your shin on the coffee table, bust your head against that chair that's in the corner, and just move around as you just start making stuff. Let the page be wonky, let the style be weird, let the story not make 100% sense. because
Yeah, that's hard for me, boy. I mean, but for real, I don't, cause I'm like you. It's like it's like you putting yourself out there, and it's like
Mhm,
when you put yourself out there, it's like I feel like it has to be excellent because that's me that I'm showcasing. You get what I'm saying? So I mean,
mhm,
but I hear what y'all saying, but at the same time, it's just like me, just the thing of me trying to always make sure that things are right and perfect. You know what I'm saying? The way I mean, even though because I mean, I get it, and again, and what you're saying as far as like not, it kind of like stops the flow of like of getting the work completed. You know what I'm saying? Or
mhm.
getting it done. I know, believe me, I hear you. I hear.
When you say you putting yourself out there, who are you putting yourself out to?
My,
Therefore,
I'm putting myself out there. I'm putting myself
I
out
know what I'm
there.
saying is it's like I'm gonna give you a scenario. It's like a lot of
Right.
times when I see people they put their comic on Facebook or they create a comic, they put all this time and effort in a comic and they put it out there and they say, "Oh, why is the comic not doing what they it needs to be?" The
Right.
thing is, you have to develop a audience. You have to develop the people that to know who you are. So in reality, when you say you're putting yourself out there, don't nobody really know that you're putting this out there but you. I mean,
Actually,
just
actually, no, no, no. It's like
being dead honest.
I mean, I'm gonna cut you off, but like, see, I've been through that scenario before. Like, I think I mentioned to Jeremy, like, I used to be on Facebook a lot,
Yeah, but we
I
all
put
done that. We all
right,
have done that.
put work,
I'm just
put.
saying.
I mean, I put work. I was putting like finished works, a piece of work, and it was just like the people that I know, family members and stuff like that, was like they like they like the work, whatever, of course. But like, and then I had like a few people that were like artists, and I found myself having to like engage with, I mean, because I mean, engage with other artists, whatever, like to try like to try to like do things together, and
I
so
know what I'm saying is we all have done that. I'm saying
right,
I used to do Facebook ads and other stuff too. The thing is don't nobody know until you actually hit that point where people either something go viral or something that people really gravitate to. Then you have more people, more eyes on it. But the thing is, that shouldn't really matter. Uh, anyway, the thing is, what should matter is if what is more important, the art or the story? If the art is more important, then
right.
you might as well just be an artist. If the story is more important, then you telling the story, and the art is secondary. Now, some people, I know Jeremy probably get on me for this, but
Right,
Jeremy is more of a stickler for the art part. But for me,
right.
I care more about the story because for me, you can always redo the art. You have comic books where people have told stories over and over again, and it's been by a different artist. The thing is
But see, I get what you're saying, like, but see, that's the thing about it. I'm an artist, I'm not a writer, so that's why I feel more important about the
but
art than
what
I do. So I
writers
mean,
are artists
I'm
too.
trying to balance it out, you
Writers
know.
are artists too. Okay?
Uh,
If you've done poetry, poetry is an art to poetry,
Yeah,
and it's an art to storytelling too.
true. But I'm just showing like that where what I feel is more important for me. But it's like, but at the same time, but I don't. I wanted to. I'm trying to make my writing more important. I'm trying to get to that point where I can have the writing be important. That's what I'm trying to focus on at this moment.
Yeah. So what I would do is, like I said, start with a short story because you can do it. Because believe me, I had the same issue where I wouldn't write a story for to save my life. And I don't know if Jeremy remember me saying this, but back in the
Yeah.
'90s when I was trying to do my
Okay.
comics, I wouldn't write for nothing. I
Oh,
always
for real?
wanted somebody else to write. I just wanted to do the art.
Okay.
And then after a while, it's just like, hey, I had to learn how to write because I'm the only person that's going to end up doing this. And if
Right.
I had that same idea back then, I would have published a whole bunch of comics, regardless of how good or bad they were. I would have told my story, and you might have some stories now that may actually have made it to film or whatever. But the
True.
point is if you don't never do it, and you always say, "Well, I can't," or I won't," or I'm not this," then you putting those roadblocks up in front of yourself, whereas you're not going to. And I'm only saying it because I've done the same thing. So it's not like I don't want you to go down the same road and
No,
me
I
and you
hear
may
you.
be
No,
around the same
I
book.
believe me. Now believe me. I see like y'all have been given me more support than probably I had in years. And I'm, and people know that I'm like, it's crazy. It's like people know that I'm an artist. Like, it's, I mean, I don't want to get all into deep, like, to like other stuff, but it's like you got people that, I don't know. I mean, when I should try to get like art gigs and stuff like that. Like I remember one time, like I told Jeremy, like when I did this this piece for like this lady, whatever. And like she wanted to have like a mural or something on the wall. I did all the work, whatever, like that. And the minute when I started talking about money, it was all of a sudden it was just seemed like the art didn't mean anything. Like it was just crazy. Like I'm like, first she'd be like, oh, the sketch is like, like this and that, whatever. Just I mean, I don't know. It's just the disappointment, you know what I'm
That's the
saying?
story. That's the stories of an artist.
Yeah, right, right. It's just
Believe me, I used to do
crazy.
murals for fashion shows and
After all that
murals
work, I
and other
spent
stuff.
hours and like in weeks, like working on this stuff
Oh
that
yeah,
they.
I know. Murals takes a lot of work, and but the thing is, uh, that's where the business side. That's a failure a lot of times with artists. The business side, they can do the art, but they can't do the business. And
Right,
that's why I look at what a lot of the people do with social media now.
right.
A lot of them they're good at the marketing, regardless of how good what they do is. They're better at marketing and getting
Marketing,
people
right.
looking at what they do, and then once they get the audience, they can switch it up and do whatever they
You
want.
doing it.
But
Right.
the thing is getting to that point, and a lot of times people, especially artists, that come from the fine art background, they just want to be stuck in front of their canvas or stuck in front of the whatever they're looking
They're
at
working, right.
to do their art, but they're not focused on telling people about it.
Engaging and right, I got you. Like with
Yeah,
people, actual people. Like it's like that's something that I have to like, it's that I have to I guess relearn again. I mean, because I'm like I watched what's the comedian named Garfield. Like Garfield, like
Oh,
Garfield has been
Godfrey's hilarious.
yeah, but
yeah, I
see,
know Godfrey. Me and him used to go to the clubs. He probably won't remember, but me and him used to go to disco clubs back in the '90s, and he's actually from Chicago.
right,
Uh, uh, and I knew him because he used to come to the school I used to go to Columbia, and he used to hang out there, and he was real militant back then too.
right. I just still like, but my thing is like he was, I used to watch this dude, like you said, in the late '90s, stuff like that, and then he just kind of like because he was one of my favorite comedians, like he just kind of disappeared, and that's because like over the years, the social media thing, like, and it was like, and he talks about that stuff now, like, because now he's doing social media, like his friends were like, or other comedians would try to help him to help get up his pages and stuff like that, because I was like, yo, he should be far ahead. And had many Netflix like specials and stuff like that. Like, 'cause he's actually really, really, really good, and
Yeah,
and
but
he's like,
he's an older guy. He's around my age.
yeah, he is. He's around my age
So the
too.
thing is a lot of us get
He didn't know about the what's the name, the social
stuck in
media.
doing stuff a certain way. And the thing is with
Right.
the new age, that's who he's talking about, King Bach and other
Mhm.
people that he was talking about. They got millions of followers, and he finally
Right.
got to that point where he started learning how to do that. Him and Ari
Yeah, he
Spear.
is. He's doing
But
better
the
now.
thing is you have to get out of that traditional way
Mhm.
of thinking, because it's a lot of comedians that
Yeah.
you wouldn't even call comedians that's really popular online. Now I can't
I
remember
know.
one of the guys' names, but I think it's Wayne something Wayne, but
Yeah, it's
he
a lot of them. It's a
he's
lot of
real popular. But the whole point in all of this is you have to break down and just say, look, who else is going to do it? If you're not going to have somebody that you're going to collab with to do the story, where because I see people, that's what they used to do on Facebook all the time too.
them.
Oh, you want to work together? Let's do this story, whatever. It's like what has to be done regardless. At one point, you have to sit down and say, I got to write the story. uh, I'm gonna have to take either it in a small little bite and say, okay, I'm gonna do this story. It's gonna be one page or whatever. And it may seem like an impossible thing, but if you can tell a good story in
Right.
one page or 1 minute, then you can tell a story a lot longer. I mean, it may seem like it's easier to do it the other way, but to me, if you can put sell a story in a minute, like how some people sell a story in these little animated clips, if you can do that in a minute, then you can turn it into a 60-minute long thing. All it is doing more of the same. So
Right.
if you can get good at just telling your stories, because you can tell a story right now just on this whole live stream. You may not see it that way, but if you take the text out and you use to illustrate that, you can tell the story.
Word. Word. Yeah. I hear you. I hear y'all. So
We're just telling you we believe in you and keep going.
right.
That
No,
is
I
literally,
feel you.
if you want to take everything we said and sum it up, we believe in you, keep going. Your
Right.
the story, you may feel unsure about the story, you may feel unsure about the style,
Right.
keep going. It's okay. Keep going.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's all good. It's just like, yeah, I really do. I want to get it done, and I just want it to be like when I want to get done, I want to get it to be perfect, and I'm like, I'm just saying,
That curse word.
I
That
I
curse
know
word.
I can't. It's the thing about it, it's like I can't help it. It's
It's a
like
swear
because
word.
that's
Perfect is a swear
no,
word.
because
Wait,
remember, and I'm gonna tell you, I can tell you where it probably comes from because when I went to art school, like I noticed that's um I mean, it was kind of it felt like it was like when I it was okay when I went to art school, but it's just like I just felt some kind of way about a lot of stuff because like a lot of times we would like a lot of the brothers and sisters that was there, we was knocking out work, getting it done, spending like 15 hours. I mean, some stuff some of these people were doing was just like amazing. And then like we would get in these classrooms and we have like these critiques getting done. And I think it's just me harboring like a lot of just that experience. It was just kind of whack. You know what I'm saying? Like 'cause they would spend like countless of hours of stuff and the work, I mean, like it's to me, I'm like, yo, this is amazing. Like some of these people that I've met over the world, like around the world that would come into this actual school. And then when the teacher, it's like the teacher, when they come time when they start doing those critiques, whatever, teacher will like, I swear, talk about their work for less than like 2 or 3 minutes. Then somebody will come in and not even have anything completed, nothing, and just coming in just running, just jawboning and shit. I mean, sorry, but like
oh
just
no, we
running,
can curse on the stream.
right, but just running their mouth about I mean something that they didn't even complete. And I'm like, I'm having complete finished work, 15 hours, whatever, and then you like you work on this, whatever. And then you sit there for like 20, 25 minutes, talk about somebody that just walked in the classroom, didn't complete anything, didn't do any work. So it's
Well,
like,
I mean,
Go ahead.
I wouldn't put too. I mean, this is just me,
no, I
but I
got
don't
you.
put too much merit in art school anymore.
Yes.
I mean, I
Right,
look back on my art when I was going to school for art.
right,
In art, I comparing it to what people do now. It's like apples and oranges. To me, it's more so about because I don't know if you saw it was one guy that sold a picture based on a story of nothing. That's
Well,
basically, I think that was in France or something.
was it millions
So
that he made from that?
I don't know, but it was basically him telling a story, and he was selling an idea, and that's really what a lot of art is. It's just a
Right,
story, especially fine art. It's a
right,
story. It don't matter how good the art is. That they can sit there and tell a story and sell it. And if they have a following, people will buy into that story. So like how a preacher is selling his sermon, and people are tied to the preacher. It's sort of similar. But the thing is for you, like I said, even with the scenario,
right.
you can take one scenario that you have. Even I'm gonna give you a scenario. You say you get on the bus, take an incident from the bus and put your characters in it and illustrate that in 3 panels. What you laughing? I'm for real.
Well, I think what he's getting at, Herman, is sort of like
Right,
like autobio comics where people are just talking about like the comics where they're just narrating their day, but it's like a
right,
comic version of a diary.
right,
Except instead of a diary, it's almost like we've all overheard or eavesdropped on some conversation where people are saying some outlandish shit.
right.
And the idea of just taking that and doing a comic of just some people talking about some outlandish shit.
Right. No,
Yeah, I even
I
wrote a
see what you're saying.
story about people on the bus. I got an actual sitcom that I did that I wrote, but I haven't actually done anything with it. It's about people being on the bus, and it's basically them telling their stories on the bus, and it's a comedy. But I never haven't done anything with it. But the thing is you know, you can pull from life and create stories uh really easy once you really get into that mindset. It because a lot of that stuff is already in your head. It may not be uh I don't know, it may not be something that you can organize correctly in a story yet, because you may need to just add the technique, because that's really what I used to get stuck in. I used to get stuck in the technique, and then also the style. Well, style and technique is sort of similar, but the technique and then the actual I forgot what the term they use, but I always have brain farts. But the thing is, it's like when you trying to put together the drawings technically. My technical skill is something I was always worried about. So it's like
Right.
the technical skill and then the style is something that you can actually apply or learn. But the thing is you being able to tell your story. The story is timeless. You can create the story, and that story can be told over and over. It can be flipped around by anyone. But the thing is, you got to tell the story, because otherwise somebody else either is going to tell it or it's never going to get told. So start with something simple. You know, you got the story there. It's just the thing is if you can't say it, draw it, and then you eventually be able to say it. But
Right.
it's there because you can talk about it. I believe if you sat down and you did like an audio book, because I don't know if you're familiar with these things they call serials, but it's the old
Okay.
school way of the way they used to do TV shows before they had TV. They did it on the radio.
Right.
So serials, everything was dialogue. So if you was to translate everything for your comic into a serial, then you would be basically telling your story.
Right. Right. I mean, yeah, that's like the old school, like they used to do those old school Supermans, War of the Worlds, like when they used to do those type of like
Yeah.
radio shows. Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So maybe you can do that. Maybe sit at home one day and think about your comic, and then either use your phone because they got a record button, or on your computer, whatever, and then just record yourself talking about your story. And you can do that over and over until you like something to hear. And that could be another way for you to voice out your ideas and actually say,
Or
okay, I
to
like
write them.
that. I like the way that's going. And that can help you with your writing.
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. I probably like think about using that technique. Yeah, because like I said, like right now to go, I just want to get that writing done. So then if I have to, I can use that time to come up with like, character designs and stuff like that. I mean, because right now I feel like the drawing aspect of it, I could, I mean, I think I got a good hang on that, but at the same time, I mean, I still want to create something different and unique that for me, as far as like on something that can easily that can, you know, you know,
Remove
draw.
that word perfect and remove that word unique. Nothing's gonna be perfect, and it's nothing gonna be totally unique. It may be unique far as the direction or approach that you take to it.
Right.
But everything is
Well,
already
for
been
me,
created. Only thing you can do is either take some from somebody else's style and then add it to your own, and then maybe people will look at it as a unique perspective, but it won't be totally unique because nothing's going to be new. Even the internet is not really new. It may seem it's new to us, but it's other forms of the same thing that's been around. It's just somebody took it and put it into a digital format.
Mm-hmm.
mm, yeah.
Well, there's just a couple of comments in the chat real quick. I saw that
Yeah, I
that
was like,
Chris
where
is
everybody at?
interested.
Everybody just fell
Well,
asleep.
we were going deep down the rabbit hole, and I didn't want to like
Okay.
shoehorn in stuff that wasn't related. But
Okay.
Chris had mentioned that he'd been working on revisiting some figure drawings in pencil with charcoal, which is messy, which that's what I've been doing. He said, but Creative Comics is what I want to see on the page. I mean, I think that it's first off, I actually have wondered. I don't know if there'd be a good way for me to make it work, but I've thought about the idea of trying to do some comics in charcoal pencil simply because it definitely would look different from what anybody else is doing comic wise. And it would certainly force me to let go some of the level of control that I want to have, because you to work in that medium but do sequential pages, you kind of have to let go of, you can't finesse and futz with it in the same way that you can futz with pen and ink and then changing it and moving things around digitally. Like I could still digitally manipulate and clean up and paint stuff on top of the charcoal drawing, but it would just be a very different process. So there might be something there in terms of trying to transform what you're doing figure drawing or charcoal drawing wise to working on to working on comics. So, but I mean, for me, I always feel like the figure drawing studies and all that stuff it adds to the toolbox of the things I'm trying to do with my comics. It builds the fundamentals so that when I'm drawing figures on the page, that stuff that's on the underneath will hopefully feel a little stronger.
Yo, your thumbs look nice, man.
Oh, thanks. I realized that as the stuff that we were talking about last week, part of it was that I just needed to think, like I needed a little bit of mental space to just quietly think, what do I want to show? How do I want the story to seem? So I went from like the panels that we were talking about before to just trying to go way back and say, well, what do I want my establishing shot to feel like?
Right.
And even with these slowly panning in, I started thinking about what I want their sort of throne room or their palace in Olympus to look like.
Right.
And then I was thinking of just something that feels really imperial and has water kind of flowing through it. So just trying to give it more character and more style to it, because it is an environment that I'm probably going to reuse in multiple issues and multiple chapters. So it's worth designing it out a little bit more.
Yeah, and I like this the bottom one in the corner, the fourth one, because it is given that and I think it can extend even more, but it's given that vast size sort of perspective that we was talking about, as far as like it's way up, especially since you got the clouds in there and you got like this tiny thing up at the top. It's sort of giving that even more so than the one on the upper left, because it's kind of giving that sort of like, I don't know if it's a tilt to it, but it's making it look even more ominous, maybe. I don't know if that's the word I want to use.
Well, what I tried to do was, I was pretty happy with that last one that you were talking about. The one that on the screen right now is on the bottom left here. But I said, well, what would it, right now it feels like we are looking at it from very, very far away, but it feels like we are also very high up. And then I said, well, how can I make it feel like it's even taller or even higher than we are? And that's when I started sketching out these thumbnails that you see on the right here, where it's almost like we are below the clouds and the palace and Mount Olympus is above the clouds. So that's what I'm trying to do perspective wise. It's almost as if you're looking through a glass ceiling and the clouds are sitting on that glass ceiling, but looking through it, you can see this thing that's way, way above you. So I'm kind of trying to play with that. And if I turn off the grid, the grid is just to help me think about how to arrange the clouds. But what I want is for it to feel like we are looking through all these massive clouds above us. And in fact, maybe I need to have a few more in here at the bottom that are almost still reinforcing that grid to give you that sense that
I think the perspective probably be more like a pyramid, even more so, even more the bottom would be wider, but that's a whole nother thing. But I think the thing you can probably show through that is probably either having something flying through it, or like birds or something, to show that it's something that's breaking through from our perspective, from underneath, to go through it. Or you can just have either something maybe like a even as if the perspective is looking from like a large tree or something, and it's the tree is breaking through the cloud. Maybe it's adding too much, but and then you see the clouds open up and you see the mountain behind it that's pointing to Olympus.
Did you see that video that I posted about David Lean?
Are you talking about the
YouTube video on the filmmaker?
Yeah, I saw that.
Because that's what I'm going for. Like, scale that is so huge and so wide that, I mean, normally that's what you do, is you have something in the foreground in comparison to give you a sense of the depth of space. But that works when you're like in a jungle or a forest. But when you're talking about massive, massive scales, it's like you take something that's massive and almost make it feel tiny. So that's sort of more of the visual scale that I'm playing with. But I think on that note, we're a little over an hour here. Let me see, any last couple of comments. I think Dylan mentioned here, and he says, I'm trying to get over perfectionism. I see indie creators selling their comics and they're at a beginner level. Why am I stuck on being perfect when someone else is selling their imperfectly drawn comic and making money off it?
Right.
Well, there you go. There you
That's what
go.
I was saying earlier. I said that
And
people have been doing that forever.
and
Right.
can I just say I want to make sure, because Amar and I have had this conversation endlessly. I'm a
Okay.
perfectionist. So Herman, when
Right.
you talk about wanting
Right.
to make it perfect, I understand
Thank you.
that need. I understand that desire. But what I'm saying is,
Right.
at the same time, I understand Amar saying, "Get
Well,
over
believe
that
me,
shit,"
I do.
Yeah,
because
because
that desire holds me back from doing as much work as I'd like to.
and it held me back too.
Mhm.
When I was trying to, like I said, do comics back in the 90s, I
Right.
wanted it to look a certain way because I was
Mhm.
always feeling like at my age and what I understood, I should be doing comics like Rod Liefeld and
And
Todd McFarlane and all
Madara
that.
area, like my dad, like mad. I was just in shock that
And
how
I'm
great.
talking about, and I'm talking about back then. I was feeling like I
Right.
should be doing that, but the thing is I wasn't doing that because I was looking at Jim Lee and looking at all those people back then in the 90s when they was round. We was around the same age. They may have been a little bit a tad older than me, but I was like, I can do this. The thing is, I couldn't write a comic. So the thing is figuring out how to write a comic and then doing the art and then doing all the other stuff. Just like then we got another artist to work with us, and I kind of fell out with the people and never got anything done in life. And I started doing 3D and other stuff and web development. And I just got off on a whole nother tangent. But the thing is if I can do it all over again, I would do it like how we're talking in this conversation. I would just do something small, do something that's manageable. And then since I was working at Kinko's back then, I would have just made some stuff and got an art, because Artist Alley was like $50 back then. I could have got in there and I could have tested the waters. Every year I could have got in Artist Alley for like $50, and then just put some stuff together and just see if I can build a fan base. And then by you know trial and error, I learned some stuff. So it's just the thing is you can't. You gotta get over that fear of saying I'm gonna put myself out there. It's where you at. You gotta step in there where you at. And I know a lot of people I will also see going to the Comic Cons, taking their portfolios, showing to other people. I wasn't really a fan of that. A lot of people was a fan of, okay, I'm gonna show these other artists, I want to get their opinion. And I mean, that's okay if you got a mentor, but going up to these people that's already established and then asking them what I need to do to get in the business. It's like, look at Artist Alley.
They were like, first be good first.
Well, no. Look at Artist Alley.
Right.
That's how you get in the business. It's not taking your stuff up to them and saying, okay, is my portfolio good enough to work for Marvel or DC?
Right.
It's like, dude, look over there at the people in Artist Alley, what they're doing.
Well, you know what? Hang on though. I think Amar, I think you jumped over something really important that Herman said, which was Herman said, "First be good," and you, Amar. The key to it is that what you're saying is get your hands dirty and jump in.
Right.
And what I'm saying to Herman is the path to good is bad.
Right.
The path to getting to good is sitting down and making something in spite of the fact that you don't have all of the abilities that you want, whether they're writing abilities, storytelling abilities, drawing abilities. The act of making the bad work is what will get you to good work. You don't want to make bad work. That's not your intention. Your intention is not to shit stuff out in the world, but making something with the tools you have at hand, you will learn way more making something substandard with the tools you have than trying to make better tools.
Right.
Yeah, and then
that's the challenge, and it's hard mentally.
Yeah, and then when you look at, like I said, if you ever actually did an in-depth look, because I used to go to those religiously, those Comic Cons, and you look at Artist Alley, look at how many things there. You like, why is they here? But a lot of them, they're doing it. They don't care. It's like they're doing it, and a lot of them, they got a whole lot of energy in them. Some of them probably still doing it today. I remember I would see people there for years, and their stuff was bad. I mean, I'm gonna just say this. I know it's different people on this live stream, but I used to be there. Would be me. I was like, I'm not gonna be one of those black creators that's going in there with garbage. because I would see a
Right.
lot of that stuff in Artist Alley. Like I see these black creators there, and they're putting this stuff there, and they're smiling and shaking hands and stuff. And I'm looking at stuff like, what is this? And the thing is, the difference is they're doing it. I wasn't. So I can sit up there and be judgy and say, okay, my stuff could be better or whatever and all this other stuff. But the thing is, they're doing it. They're putting themselves out there. And if they fail, they can learn from their failures. But what if they end up making a good story and then they find some artist that's going to work with them and say, you know what, I illustrate your story. Then that's going to make everything else look a whole lot better. And then or if they got really good artwork and then they have a terrible story, what if they find a artist, a writer that say, you know, I want to work with you and help write your stories or write better stories, and then you got a whole different product. So the thing is you got to put it out there. So then, you know, you may run into someone and say, oh, you know what, all that ambition that I had for drawing backgrounds and doing this and doing that, this person already does that. But the thing is, you won't know until you put it out there.
Yeah, I met a guy like that at Comic Con. Like, it was a brother that he had his book together. Like, he was cool. Like, and he was doing like kind of like, it wasn't like newspaper. Like, it was like he would do like 3 or 4 panels of a
Like gag
story.
strips.
Right, but he put everything that he ever did into one big like graphic novel. Like, and it was like he had a ton of stuff, and I was just like talking to him at the time, and I was like, yo, I said, yo, I could probably do like animation. I said, you want me to probably do like animation for him, like, you know, to help, you know, present the book, whatever. But like, I kind of lost contact with yo, but like, makes me think back. I mean, I wish, yeah, that's what I was doing. I was on that mission, going out looking for other artists and stuff like that they probably can, you know, work with, whatever. Like, just, you know, I do a little something, they do a little something, whatever, you know. But yeah, you got some people that's just not even on that. You know, they just don't want people working with each other. They just want to, I guess they want to shine for themselves, whatever. You know, I'm like, it is what it is.
Well, I mean, it depends on the person. Like, I mean, for me,
Right.
for me, the reason why I tend not to collaborate is not because I don't appreciate collaborations. I don't appreciate other people's contributions. I don't collaborate with other people because I'm a control freak.
Right. That's funny.
I can, if I'm working for someone, I will execute your commands and your desires as needed to the specification. I'm very good at that.
Right.
But if you're asking me to have back and forth, I'm like, either tell me what you want or let me do what I want. The back and forth, I don't enjoy that. I enjoy taking everything and tweaking it and making it exactly the way that I want it. So that's the reason why I don't, is because I don't think it's fair. I know what I think a good collaboration. To me, a good collaboration is when two people exchange ideas back and forth, and with each exchange, each person adds to it to make something greater than either of them would do separately. To me, that is what collaboration should be. And I'm not good at that.
That's these Johns, you know.
So
I think the theme I'm getting here is your imperfection is your road to perfection.
Yeah. I would co-sign on that. I think that's true. I think that's true, honestly, for everybody.
Right.
All right, guys. So we gotta wrap it up here, but this has been a lively conversation. And guys in the chat, I'm sorry we didn't check in with the chat as much as we normally do on the way through, but we kind of got on a roll here. I'll try to keep closer eye on the chat in the future and work it more into the conversation.
Right. It's all good.
But on that,
they was listening to us, you know, like we were, you know, our boo-hoos and stuff like that. I mean, they probably like, man, I mean, they probably going through some of the same things we're going through, like, you know.
Yeah. I know Chris said that, Dylan said that, you know, they're all struggling with perfectionism, getting stuck on things, or the thing they're working on isn't, they know where they want to go, but having difficulty getting to that next level. So it's a challenge.
Right.
So, all right, guys. But on that note, if you enjoy these live streams, we'd like to get additional bonus live streams twice a month. Head on over to patreon.com/Jeremy. It's patreon.com/GERIMI. And speaking of all the talk about storytelling, we're going to be doing some writing sprints as Patreon exclusive live streams later on in the month. We just get on, write, We can hang out, chat for a few minutes, and then get back. Just sit down, getting work done together. By the way, if you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. If you're new and you haven't hit that subscribe button, hit the subscribe button. And if you know somebody else who would enjoy these live streams, hit that share button. If you'd like to get a free digital sketchbook, work in progress animated GIFs delivered out your inbox, blog posts about what I'm reading, what I'm watching, what's inspiring me creatively, you can sign up for my free newsletter at substack.com/@Jeremy. And if you'd like to purchase physical copies of my comic books, you can go to amazon.jeremy.net. They'll forward you to my Amazon author page. You can also pick up digital Kindle editions. You can get books like my first graphic novel, I Have the Gods. It is a standalone psychological thriller about a man cursed with visions he cannot control. You can pick up my most recent project, Morning Star. It is a retelling of Lucifer's fall from heaven as a Western. It's an 8-issue series. Volume 1 contains issues 1 through 4. Volume 2 contains issues 5 through 8. Both volumes have extensive back matter, character designs, thumbnails, page layouts, and more. I basically show you how I put the entire comic book together. If you go to the homepage of my YouTube channel, there are book flip throughs, so you can see what's inside all those comics. And then there's my book, Wound, The Art of Jeremy Burley, Volume 1. That's also available on my my Amazon store. All right, guys. Herman, AMR, thank you so much, as always, for the vigorous debate and discussion as we continue through our creative challenges here and work our way towards making cool art and making cool comics.
So we bring in the same stuff we did. Like, I mean, just I guess bring anything. What if you're working on anything? I guess just post it in the what's the name, right, in the Discord, whatever, like, so we can rap about it. I guess I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I just figure if you guys, anytime you want stuff that you want to share or talk about, you can put it in the public. The way I figure is that there's stuff that we may share that you don't necessarily want for the public, and that we've got the work in progress section of the Discord. But if there's stuff that you specifically want to talk about during a live stream, that's what the public live stream channel is for. Cool. So for people watching, there's a public live stream Discord channel, and it's just a place for us to share work that we want to talk about on the stream.
Right.
All right.
Sounds good.
Okay, man. Thanks as always. Get out there, keep your head up, and everybody else, go be creative.
All right.